Hey guys, Provo1701 here, and today I'm going to be talking about The Flash, the newest movie from DC. I didn't think much of it. It had parts I liked, parts I didn't, and it left me with an overall feeling of, It's a very disappointing movie. I was expecting more, especially with Keaton in it. I think Ezra Miller's actual performance is fine. As in the actor acting the character. As an actor, the performance is fine. Especially playing both the parts. Ezra does a good job of making older Ezra feel less annoying by making younger Ezra extremely annoying. So while I don't care much for Ezra Miller as a person in real life, their acting performance is fine. With that out of the way, it's great seeing Michael Keaton back. I love Michael Keaton. He's my favorite Batman. Batman 89 is my favorite Batman movie. And the parts where you get to see him Batmaning all over the place is fantastic. I love the fact that he can actually really move around and fight. He's not in the movie enough. I wish they had went with the original ending with him in it. That would have made me a lot happier. I'm already completely just dead on arrival with the James Gunn stuff now, just because I feel like he's screwed me over by not giving me my Keaton ending I deserved. The girl playing Supergirl, what, Sasha Callie or whatever her name is really good. I really liked her in this. Again, not enough screen time, not enough to develop the character, but I think she's a great actress. I enjoyed her in the role. She's definitely giving it her all. Michael Shannon feels underutilized as Zod, and I've even seen in interviews where he didn't think much of it. He's really not there enough. The threat of him is there, but just he himself is not there enough, and the CGI on him to DH him looks terrible. A lot of the CGI in this movie looks bad. Like, some of it looks good. Like, anytime there's two Barry Allens on screen, it looks good. You would think Ezra Miller had a twin. They do a really good job of showing the two Barrys. It looks natural. The way they do the camera work or the computer work to make him look there, it looks really good. My hat's off to them on that. Some of the early effects, like when Barry is running really fast at the beginning, look really good, just when he's running fast. But then some of the other scenes, like when he's rescuing the babies in the hospital, I'm really already starting to get into spoiler territory. Before I jump into spoiler territory, I just want to say the CGI does look dodgy. The third act feels very rough. You can tell this movie feels very disjointed, like it went through the editing process a lot. You had multiple reshoots, and it left me very underwhelmed. Some great scenes, but some scenes I didn't really care for. And I actually enjoyed some of the cameos. Some people have had issues with some of the cameos. I enjoyed some of the cameos. I'm old enough for, in case of some of the cameos, for the nostalgia to really hit me in the feels. Those didn't bother me. I'm going to go ahead and dive into spoiler stuff. So if you haven't seen it by now, it's been out for 2 or 3 weeks now. You should have seen it by now. But if you don't want to see that, then go ahead and click off. But I'm going to talk about spoilers. The baby scene at the beginning is dumb. It's really, really dumb. He puts one in a microwave. How could anyone have thought that was a good idea? And it just looks terrible. The babies look god-awful. Like, that whole part is just dumb, dumb, dum 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 dum. I love seeing Ben Affleck back in it. I should have talked about that, I guess, earlier. Ben Affleck is great. The scene at the beginning when we get to have him, doing his Batman stuff is great. I don't really care for the suit, but it looks okay. I like his original Batman versus Superman suit better. But it's cool getting to see him have a last action sequence. I actually thought the scene when he gets the rope lasso from Gal Gadot, who cameos in it as Wonder Woman, I thought when he starts saying that, it's like, my ego is not big enough forever to let me admit I'm sorry, or whatever he says. I thought that was funny. That amused me. I like the scene with Ben and Barry are talking about changing the past. It was nice. I was glad we got some Ben Affleck in this movie. I felt he never got the Batman movie he deserved, because I think he was a really good Batman. He just never got a movie he deserved. And then we're stuck with a long time with just the Ezras, which is really annoying. Or just the Barrys. And it's not even so much the acting, because the acting is fine. Ezra Miller's acting is fine. Just the writing there. And young Barry explaining to old Barry and getting young Barry the powers, old Barry, all of that just drags on too long for me. And then we get Keaton in, and it's great, and I love seeing Keaton. I love him, you know, showing the scene with all the bat suits and him coming in saying, I'm Batman. And all the stuff with Keaton is fantastic, and I was overjoyed with that, getting to watch him run around all over the place. It's awesome. It's really, really great. The ending part, though, just the idea of no matter what they do, they can't win, that they can't beat Zod, that Supergirl's going to get killed, that Michael Keaton Batman is going to get killed. It's just weird. You kind of figure if the Barrys kept going back in time, they would eventually win just for sheer numbers. I mean, if you have 1,000 of young Barry and 1,000 of old Barry all there fighting together, you figure eventually they would win, but apparently not. Finding out who Dark Flash is, which I saw coming a mile away pretty much earlier on, that it was going to be one of them, probably the younger one. How that just suddenly gets erased from history by young Barry sacrificing himself to save old Barry. I do like the fact that Dark Flash doesn't show up until older Barry alters the timeline originally with the can of soup, therefore saying Dark Flash didn't exist until that happened. Kind of like some of the stuff in other video games I played, or I don't like the fact that they killed off Keaton's Batman. That pisses me off to high heaven. Like, seriously, that infuriates me. It would have been all right if they'd went with the original ending when Ezra Miller gets back to his normal universe, supposedly, and it's Keaton's Batman there, which would have led us into, of course, into Batgirl and Keaton being in other movies, because originally they wanted Keaton to kind of be like a Nick Fury figure and show up in other movies, which is what they should have done. Look, James Gunn. I'm immediately going to call it. I think James Gunn has no idea what he's doing. I think he's made a foolish mistake. Like, seriously. Disney, come get me. I will explain the common sense of the situation to you. People love Keaton. Bring back Keaton. The only reason people went to see The Flash is Keaton. I mean, it was nice to see Ben Affleck again as well, but people went to see Keaton. We wanted more Keaton. You should have went with the original plan, had Keaton at the end, and given us more Keaton. That would have been a great soft boot for the reboot y'all are doing now, was to bring a few of them over like Keaton, and had him in kind of a Batman Beyond role where he's mentoring. That would have been the common sense thing to do, because think about it. The people who grew up with Batman 89, Batman Returns, Keaton's Batman, we're in our late 30s to late 40s at this point. We're all in that 30s, easing into our 40s or 50s range. We have money we can spend. I mean, I'm not the richest guy in the world by any means, but we're the ones who are, going to go see your movies. We want Keaton. So them killing him off and not bringing him back, literally, the James Gunn universe is dead already. Even with the Superman casting, which for the record, that Superman casting looks fine. And the actress they cast as Lois Lane, I know her from House of Cards. I think she's a good actress. But immediately, I refuse to go watch any of them because I feel like they screwed Keaton. And that, to me, you don't do that. You don't screw over Kevin Conroy's Batman, even though he's several Batman. Kevin's a lot of different Batman. You don't screw over Kevin Conroy in the role. You don't screw over Michael Keaton in the role. Those are my 2 golden rules. And you don't screw over the Christopher Reeve Superman. Those are my 3 golden rules for DC. Kevin Conroy's Batman, you don't mess over. Michael Keaton's Batman, you don't mess over. Christopher Reeve's Superman, you don't mess over. And they broke that with Keaton. And so the James Gunn movies are dead to me. Dead. I will not be seeing them. Not in theater. They will not get a dime of my money unless they somehow bring Keaton back and give him the ending he deserves. The cameos with like Christopher Reeve and George Reed, I didn't mind those. I thought they were nice. Matter of fact, I think most of the people who were complaining about them are probably too young to have the nostalgic attachment to them that a lot of us do. For my generation and a lot of people around my age, Christopher Reeve is Superman. Christopher Reeve just is Superman. While there have been several actors who have played Batman really well, Christopher Reeve is just the definitive Superman. I like Henry as Superman. Henry Cavill was a great Cavill, however you say his name, was a good Superman. I liked him. But he's not Christopher Reeve. I mean, it's like Big difference. Christopher Reeve just is Superman, because Superman's not supposed to be this gritty character. Which I'm not saying Henry's is a gritty character. He's just stuck in a gritty world. Christopher Reeve got this. Superman is the Boy Scout. He is the nice guy. And he nails that. Everybody likes his Superman. And his Clark Kent is so good. Christopher Reeve is good not just because his Superman is so good, but his Clark Kent is just so... adorable is not the word, but you just connect with his Clark Kent too. And he plays that role so well that seeing Christopher Reeve, even just for a few seconds, was great to me. I loved it. And seeing Helen Slater's Supergirl fly in. And that's the first time we've ever seen them on screen together. The Christopher Reeve Superman and the Helen Slater Supergirl on screen, standing next to each other. We've never gotten that before. And that is a milestone. And since it's just a few seconds, I think it's fine. You know, it'd been different if they'd been trying to make the Christopher Reeve Superman a huge part of the movie. If that was the case, you should have just cast Brandon Routh, because Brandon Routh is supposed to be the Reeve Superman. But since it was just a few seconds, I think it was fine to do that. I have no issue with it. The CGI doesn't look good, but them doing that is fine. I didn't mind them bringing in the George Reeves Superman. I thought that was a nice little touch. I liked the fact it was in black and white. And again, it was just short. I liked that. It was a nice little nod to the past to put a smile on people who are old enough to catch the references face. Seeing Adam West Batman, I think Adam West would have been perfectly fine with that. He always strikes me as a guy with a good sense of humor. So I had no problems with the cameos. I even enjoyed seeing the Nicolas Cage Superman fighting the Spider. That's hilarious. It's a wonderful in-joke to everyone who knows about Superman Lives. So it was nice to actually see that kind of made canon. I enjoyed that. The ending, it's nice seeing Barry learn his lesson. The scene when he's having to say goodbye to his mom is sad. It's kind of weird we never found out who killed his mom. Maybe they were going to plan that for a sequel or something. But, you know, you figure he might have time traveled back to where his mom was killed. Maybe not to interfere, but just to watch, just so he could see. So maybe he could get some vengeance on the person who did it. So I figured he would have time traveled back and just been watching. But it's weird that they never really said who did it. And that he didn't try to find out. But when he gets back, you know, and his dad gets exonerated, that's neat. The bit at the end with, again, spoilers, with Clooney showing up, and when he shows up, Bruce is played by George Clooney. Now, I will admit, when that first happened in the theater, I thought it was hilarious. And in a bubble, I do think that's funny. That's a funny way to end the movie. I will admit, I actually laughed in the theater at it. The idea that George Clooney, who is not exactly the most popular Batman and Robin is not the most popular Batman movie. Although I do have an ex-girlfriend, that's her favorite Batman movie. She views it as a comedy. She thinks it's funny. And so, viewed as a comedy, she has a point. When I saw it was him, that was hilarious. I'll give it that. But knowing in context now that it was supposed to be Keaton, and then they had that one ending where it was Keaton's Batman, and you had Henry Cavill as Superman, and Sasha there as Supergirl, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. That's the ending I would have wanted. That's the reason why it test screened so well, I'm telling you right now. I'm willing to bet those test screens showed one of the original two endings with Keaton's Batman. And that's probably why the test screenings were so popular. It's when they changed it to this Clooney ending, people just went... And while I think it's funny, it still pisses me off. I still hate the fact the last I see of Keaton's Batman is him dying. It makes me so mad. So there's a few good things this movie does. There's a lot of bad things this movie does. It's one of the most disappointing superhero movies I've ever seen. And ultimately, my final thought on it is, So, The Flash, have you seen it? What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That does help me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I also have another channel, a sci-fi channel, where I mostly review Doctor Who, called Another Sci-Fi Guy, if you want to check that out. And my main channel, Probable 1701, is where I review lightsaber replicas and talk about all things Star Wars, although I'm not as active on there as I am on my Doctor Who channel. But if you want to check those out, I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me on that. There's a link to that down in the description below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. I want to give a shout-out to some of my top-tier patrons, Finn Perkins, Stephen Crane, and Colin Coney. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. And I also have a P.O. Box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review, and a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. Most importantly, though, Thank you for watching.